Hi, this is Owen Howe again with another video, this time about the waiting list. This video is recorded in April, and April is a common time for the waiting list. The more selective and the most selective schools have come out with decisions, and oftentimes some really deserving students will end up being on the college's waiting list. And so create this video just to give an overview of what the waiting list is and what you can do to get out of it. So I think the first thing you need to look regarding the waiting list is what the colleges are looking at. And for them, it's a balancing act. They all have a target of how many freshmen and how many transfers they need to enroll. And this is a decision that is made with the budgeting team, with their housing team, with their academic team. It's a huge group of people coming together to figure out how many students they can serve. Under enrollment, that's a typical problem, and that's a relatively easy problem to understand. If you don't have enough freshmen or sophomores, it just means you're not generating enough income or revenue. And if you don't have enough money, that means you might have to dip into an endowment, which is never a good thing. But also, repeated times of under enrollment also means perhaps cutting faculty, cutting staff, cutting course offerings. And, we have seen plenty of colleges that have merged in the last few years and closed because they were not hitting their enrollment targets. However, enrolling too many students, it's a problem too. It's not like more is better. Housing is the number one thing. You have, a freshman class of 100 more students. Where are you going to put them? So for some colleges, it means putting them into triples or even quads, which is not ideal. And also moving other students off campus. I've seen colleges purchasing a hotel down the street from campus a couple miles away and just trying to put the students in there and then offering them busing, offering a school bus for them to get to and from campus. That's not ideal either. But, colleges have to do what they have to do. Once they admit a student, they can't go back and say, hey, we got too many students, we can't admit you anymore. That's not fair to the student and the families. Other resources, classroom space, lab space. If you're English major, you could probably add another desk. But if you have, more biology majors or chemistry or physics majors, they need lab classes, and there's only so much lab space on campus. How are you going to fit them all? There's also going to be possible staffing issues. Are there enough professors teaching? Are they going to have to hire adjuncts? And oftentimes when you're hiring people, you might have to hire them for more than a year. So how's that going to work? So, it's a problem. It's a good problem to have for some schools, but it is still a problem nonetheless. Especially if they're over 1 year, does that mean they have to take fewer students the next year? Why is this waitlist? Why do colleges waitlist? And short answer is just gives them a better gives them a cushion to better hit their enrollment targets. And what most colleges will do is they will try to accept the number of students that would get them just short of the waiting list. Perhaps if they need to take 1,000, if they're budgeting 1,000 freshmen, so they might end up accepting enough students to hit maybe 980, 985, 990, just a little off, and then using the remaining waitlist students to fill out the difference. So this means if they end up overshooting, then they won't be overshooting by much. If they end up accepting fewer students than they predicted, then they could take students off the wait list. And many students on the wait list are just as good of students and candidates as the students they admitted. So, the colleges know that. And for larger colleges, oftentimes you'll find a separate waiting list for each college. So the College of Arts and Sciences might have their wait list. The College of Engineering has their own wait list. The College of Architecture, Natural Resources. So each college within the large university will have their own wait list. And so that complicates matters a little bit. So for the student, how does this work? So you have to, if you get a waitlist offer, you have to accept the waitlist offer. The colleges will tell you how to accept the waitlist offer, and then you will have to pay a deposit and submit the enrollment paperwork to your second choice school by May 1st. Now, it's going to be once in a while your first choice college would accept you off the deadline before May 1st. It's rare. Usually colleges will wait until May 3rd, May 4th, just to make sure that they are looking at the right numbers and just to make sure they need to use the wait list. And so if you get accepted off the wait list, that means that you're going to lose the enrollment and the deposit, your deposit at your second choice school. And some schools the deposit is relatively inexpensive, could be $100. Other schools significantly more, maybe $400 or $500. The other part about the wait list is the colleges would like to start pulling students off the wait list early to mid-May, a little closer to early May. However, sometimes they will need to hold on to a wait list until the end of May, sometimes even the end of June. It could be a long process. And I'll explain why the process could be long in the upcoming slides. And students typically have a couple of days to accept the college waiting list offer. And so it's a huge rush. So your admission representative will call you saying, Johnny, you got let off the waiting list. Please let us know what you decide within the next 3 days. However, you might not have seen the financial aid package. They're going to work on the financial aid package as quickly as they can, but sometimes they can't. Or sometimes they will tell you they don't have any financial aid available. So, you might have to make the decision. You're going to have to make the decision pretty quickly because the colleges do not want to be held hostage over a student's indecision. If you say no, they'll just move on to the next student. And why do the colleges wait until why do the colleges tell the students to wait until late June? They would not release the wait list until late, sometime in June. And it's a game of musical chairs, really. If one of the most selective colleges is wait lists, then there's going to be a trickle-down effect. And some people call it summer melt. I think it's major part of it. There's other parts in the melt, but what ends up happening is, if one of the Ivies end up using the wait list, perhaps a student who is going to UCLA, committed to go to UCLA, gets let off the wait list at the Ivy, then the student will tell UCLA, thanks but no thanks, I ended up going somewhere else. Then UCLA will need to use their wait list to find a spot to fill that spot, and they might end up contacting a student who committed to UC Santa Barbara, and keeps trickle downwards. The colleges know there's going to be some melt, and they call it the summer melt. So there's going to be a fraction of the students who say they're coming on May 1st who will not actually come. So some of it is, I mentioned, waitlist. Some of it is other reasons too. So it could be deciding not to start right now, take a year off. It could be a few other things. But the colleges try to plan it, but it's not. This is a macro process, so colleges can't predict every specific student and what they're going to decide. So they're looking at it in a big picture way. The other part until late June is the colleges know only a fraction of the students on the waiting list will actually enroll when called. Perhaps in April, when the student get on the wait list, the school is their first choice. However, a month and a half later, the student gets to know their school a little bit more, perhaps went to an orientation, met the future roommate, then decides, hey, this school is going to be good enough for me. And when their used to be first choice school calls, and they might say, thanks, but no thanks. You denied me, you put me on the wait list. I end up deciding going somewhere else. And so the colleges realize that too. So they might, if they need to fill 50 spots, they might have to make 250, 300 phone calls to get the 50 spots. Um, so and this could be, you know, you give the student 3 days to think about it. The student says no, then you lose 3 days, and then you call another student. They might think about it. So you could see, might take a little while for a college to, even if there's room to fill up their class through the wait list. So as a student, what should you be doing? Uh, Reach out to your admission officer, let him or her know that you will enroll if you're accepted off the wait list. And that's probably the most important thing. And then the colleges will ask you to submit any materials, perhaps updated transcript, updated resume, updated list of accomplishments. Um, it's depending on what they say. I believe some of the colleges now are asking for if you could write something, put something in writing, perhaps write a paragraph on why you want to go there. I think they just want to use that to identify who are truly serious and who are halfway serious. And colleges claim that there's no priority on the wait list in terms of whether whether the wait list is numbered, and I believe them. However, you need to think about two things. One is the admissions officers don't want to make more phone calls than they have to. This is not one, it's a rewarding experience. It's great to talk to students who are waiting to get let off the wait list and gets off and enrolls at your school. However, they want to call the students who will come. They don't want to make more phone calls than they have to. If they know you will definitely come if they called you, gives them a better idea to call you first. Okay. However, just remember there could, as I mentioned, sometimes at the larger schools, the wait list is with each college. So they might have to direct orders on what type of students to take off. So it might be students who are studying engineering. We don't have enough engineers this year, so let's take some engineering students off the wait list. They might have other enrollment goals. Perhaps, hey, we don't have enough men this year. We need to take more male students. Could be a few other things. Usually when it comes to wait list, colleges are not overly picky. However, the ability to pay can factor into decisions. If the college knows they barely have any financial aid money left, it's not fair to accept a student off the wait list with really high financial need. Because, okay, the student might want to come, but if financially, once they look at the financial aid package, if it's not reasonable, what's the point of accepting that student if you can't support that student financially? And in summary, you need to know the wait lists are for the colleges. They're protecting their own interests. The wait list does not help the student. It's not something that protects the student. This is a tool that helps the haves a lot more than the have-nots. The haves could afford to lose a $400 deposit. The have-nots can't. And it's okay. If you don't get in, if you get let off the wait list, it's okay. Just say thanks, but no thanks. The important thing is you're going to a school that you love, that you're going to succeed in, that you're going to be happy at, and there's going to be more than one school. And so, it's okay to say no to your first choice from 6 months ago. All you can let them know is you're interested. There's not a lot to it. As I said from the last slide, the reps want to call students who knows they are going to accept when they receive the call. And there are actually alternatives to the waiting list. I don't think they're all that appealing. Many of the California State University systems do not use the wait list. I personally think these are more nefarious tools. Some schools will mail out acceptances by batches. So they will start accepting perhaps in sometime in February. If they see that they're tracking, they'll send some in early March, some in mid-March, some in late March. If they find that they are tracking below the target number of freshmen or sophomores transfers, then they would accept some more students perhaps in early April. I have seen some schools accept students in mid to late April. because they realize they're not going to hit their enrollment numbers by May 1st. You don't want to wait until middle April to get your acceptances. And I think I would rather see a wait list. Other California state system, because many of these schools are not designed to be selective, so they're denying students through technicalities. So it could be, oh, we requested your transcripts, your 7th semester transcripts on our portal, but you didn't check the portal and you didn't submit your 7th semester transcript by February 15th. And so today is February 16th. We will have to deny you because of this technicality. There are some schools that do that, and it sucks. And I would rather see a waiting list than for some students, not getting in because of a technicality like that. So that's all I got. Feel free to watch my other videos. If you have any questions or want to set up an appointment, please go into my website and contact me there. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.